Welcome to Love and Lordship Mentoring Minutes. I'm Greg Williams, your host, and as you know, Love and Lordship has completed a 6-month series on the names of God, and today we started a new series, if you were following us there, that's going to help bridge the gap from the names of God that we just completed, from knowing and loving Him more deeply. That was our prayer and our purpose with that, to taking us to our identity in Christ, who we are in Christ, and how we can truly love ourselves and others. Remember, our prayers for the names of God was to know and love Him more, helping us to mature in the first and greatest command: worship Him alone and love Him with all that we are. In order to fulfill the second command to love others as we love ourselves, we must know and love who we are in Christ. And of course, love in truth is that bridge from God to us and then to others through us. This transition series is entitled Wisdom from God's Word and is focused on His love. Let me just share with you a few scriptures that are foundational to knowing, growing, and living out this love for Him, self, and others as we cross this bridge from love, His love for us and our love for Him, to our love for who we are in Christ, and then loving others according to His wisdom, His truth that comes only from Him and His Word. First of all, we have to remember that love is a commitment, an act of the will, a daily moment-by-moment choice, regardless of how we feel. Look at the cross of Christ. It had many emotions attached to it, just as our feelings when we experience love or infatuation, those kind of things. There are many emotions attached to it, both good and bad, but it's not defined by the emotions. It's defined by our choices, our commitment. It is the bridge from God to us, from us to Him, and from us to others. Number one, let's start with where God started. We love, parentheses here, my addition, but true contextually, we love only because He first loved us. That's found in the Epistle of John, the first letter to the churches, 1 John 4:19. It's really simple. I have no real capacity for love. I have some remnants of it because I am created in His image. The same with you, but over time that will grow cold in my flesh. I can really only love because He is love and He first loved me and you. Secondly, Jesus answered them when they tried to trick Him in Mark 12, the Jewish leaders in the synagogue. What's the greatest command? He answered, the first and foremost is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. You know what that means? He alone is worthy of our worship. And so often we fail to recognize that in the first and greatest command. His authority, His worthiness is the only one and thing worthy of our worship. And then He continues, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength, with all your being. The second command is like it. You shall love your neighbors as yourself, but it is second. You see, there is no other command greater than these, Jesus said. And in Matthew, He said, this sums up all the law and the prophets. You do these two things according to my truth and in my power, in my love, you've done it all. How are we doing when it comes to focusing on discipling and helping others mature in the first and greatest command? Worship Him alone and love Him with all you are. If we're not doing this, then we are truly not loving others and therefore not fulfilling the second command, even though we're doing a lot of things to serve them and seemingly love them. In the Greek, first means time, order, rank, and priority, just like it did in Genesis. In Hebrew, ruach, in the beginning, time, order, rank, and priority. You got to start there. Everything else flows from that. If you don't start with that foundational truth, you can't do the rest, no matter how much we try and make it look good. The greatest thing we can do, according to Jesus, is teach disciples to love Him. Everything else flows from this. Third one, if you love me, you will keep my commands. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, all people will know that you're my disciples if you have love for one another. Also in John 14:15, if you love me, you will obey my commands. But remember, we are incapable of doing this. We can make it look good for a while, But we're incapable of truly loving others if we haven't first learned to and are growing in, not perfection, maturation, and not growing in our love for God. We can't miss that time with God. We got to spend it. We got to work at it. We got to grow in it. We're given the grace that saves us freely. We're given that same grace that gives us the strength to grow in it. Are you by discipline, by discipleship, choosing to do so? The fourth one, by this we know that we love the children of God when we love God and follow his commandments. Isn't that interesting? It's not talking about how we feel towards others. It's about how we follow God's commands in obedience. That's love. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. For whoever has been born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Our hope, our love for God, our love for others is all rooted in our faith that Jesus Christ came in the flesh, lived a perfect life, died on the cross, and rose again. That's love. And that's not about feelings. That's about commitment, about covenant. Let's be sure that if we are disciples of Christ, that we are following his commands. What I just read was 1 John 5, 2 through 4. That we are loving him and learning to love others according to his word. How are you doing when it comes to the greatest commands? In order. It's the only way they'll work. And growing in love for him, yourself, and others. Do you know him in his love? I pray that you do. If you want to know more, contact us at loveandlordship@gmail.com. That's love and, A-N-D, spell it out, loveandlordship all together @gmail.com. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your prayers. Thanks always to the Lord. Make it a great day, and God bless in Christ.